I can stay and party with some of the best people at the start of the Gumball rally, and this is like a holy grail thing for me, or I can have the opportunity of rolling my car across the line at the start line for the first stop in London at Battersea Power Station. So a little while ago, you guys know that I am well known for buying fake supercars. One day I may get there, but there are lots of little steps along the way, and that includes Diablos, fake F40s, Countaches, and even the odd Lycan Hypersport. But I got a phone call from a gentleman going, hey, look on Facebook right now, I've sent you something on Marketplace. And Marketplace is my best and worst enemy, because fear of missing out, FOMO as we call it, is one of the biggest issues I have. It's not always about the want to go and buy a car. I don't go out there like some people and go, do you know what, I've always wanted a Ferrari 360. So then you find it, you idolize it, you basically imagine yourself driving it, and then you work towards getting it. What I do is I find that piece of junk, and then I spent the next 4 hours trying to work out how I can give a deposit to work out how to pay for it later. The gentleman sent me this absolutely amazing Facebook listing that had my name all over it. And when I clicked on it, every single comment was like, Samard, 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 Samard. And it was a white Lamborghini Murciélago, but I'm pretty sure Ed can say it a lot better than me. And then next to it also was a Ferrari 355 that was actually used on Top Gear. It was the replica that Mr. Hammond and Mr. May stood next to and went, this is not a real Ferrari 355. This is a replica built by 355 Speciales or whatever it was called back in the sort of the late 2000s. And basically it was a very, very special MR2. And this Toyota MR2 had been widened, lengthened, everything you needed to do to make the car look right. But it was a lot wider, a lot more bulbous. But the VIN number must have to be the holy grail of VIN numbers. It was obviously the SW20 or wherever it was at the beginning of the VIN number, but it was 0000355. It was the 355th Toyota MR2 that had ever left the factory, and someone had turned it into a 355 replica. So it was probably at some point in its life worth a whole lot more money as a Toyota MR2, but now it had been completely ruined into this Ferrari replica. So I basically bought the Ferrari 355 and the Lamborghini Murciélago for about £12,000, which I thought was an absolute bargain because the last Murciélago I bought was also £10,000. So I was basically buying a Murciélago and getting the Ferrari for free. So I spent a little bit of time cleaning out, painting, making it, putting it all back together, trying to fit that horrible dashboard that had glued on Ferrari badges onto the dials back in the car. And I got it running and driving, and we did some donuts and we deleted some skirt panels on the car, had lots of fun. I put it up for 12 grand, and I thought, well, if I can get 12 grand for the Ferrari, then I know the Murciélago is free. I ended up selling it for 10 grand, which I was quite happy with, but also was reluctant because that VIN number, I kind of thought, do you know what, is that going to be worth something one day? Just because those sort of stage 2 Mark II MR2s are also going up in price, and it's quite a special VIN number. So that car sold, and I was left with this absolute wreck of a Murciélago, but it was in pearl white. And in relation to proportion, it was flawless. So the lengths of the doors, the front to rear, the sides, everything about that car was perfect. It was quite cool to turn up at Petrolheadism Underground, and Tim Schmee, who we all know, went, where did you get that wreck of a Mercy? I was like, it's not real. And he was like, what? He walked over and opened the door, and there was like 2x4 wood holding it up because the hinge wouldn't stay up. And proportionally, from like 40 feet away where his stand was, it looked like a real Murciélago. And I loved it. I thought it was so cool. I got it running and driving. I took it to Goodwood, did lots of cool stuff with it. And in the end, I thought, do you know what? I'm done with it. I've rinsed it of content. You know, for us YouTubers, it's all about how much content you get out of a car. And when it's done, it's kind of done. So I put it on eBay for like 35 grand. I thought, do you know what? I'll take the mickey, see where it goes. And it only owed me 2 grand, probably 3 actually, after I spent some money on Mr. Josh Wigley helping me out and getting the windows working, that kind of stuff. This gentleman contacted me and goes, oh, hey man, you're interested in a Countach? I went, oh my God, I wouldn't want one of them. Sorry, mate. Not my cup of tea. All the replicas are crap. They look like a piece of Wensleydale that's been cut by a 4-year-old child, and they look awful. I mean, the windscreen glass is flat. There's no shape to it. They're not right in any proportion. I said, not interested, mate. Send me a couple of photos anyway, because I might be able to throw a bit of, if he's going to throw some cash in the mix, it might be worth doing. He sent me the pictures of this Countach. And I tell you what, the colour was absolutely gorgeous. It was a Bentley colour. It was like a dark green that also kind of looked like a grey kind of colour. It was absolutely gorgeous. And the car had been built really, really well. It was basically a car called a Ford GT Motorsports. And basically a company who are a subsidiary of Ford GT said that the manager of Ford rented a Countach. And the company, while they rented the Countach, because he's one of the CEOs, took the molds off the car to make a fake Countach. So basically it was called, I think it was called like the GV 5000 or something like that, but it was a GB Motorsports vehicle. And it was titled right, so it was down as a, you know, a Ford GB Motorsports vehicle. So basically back in the day when this car was built in like the 90s, it would have gone for an inspection like the DMV or the DVLA in England to make sure the kit car was built properly and it resembled something that it was supposed to be. So basically, number one, I got a Murciélago that looked like a Murciélago that was registered as a Toyota MR2 and swapped it for a car that damn looked like a Countach in every proportion, but also was registered right as a replica or a kit car. So I was on the right road. So I did the deal, I pulled it out of the workshop, and the guy had had this car for 20 years. It used to be white with a white interior, then it was red with a white interior, then it was this beautiful green with a white interior. And for me, the green was the part that made it look real. It wasn't obnoxious, it wasn't that Lamborghini kit car colour that everyone just assumed it was a replica. It looked so understated that it looked real. And I said to the gentleman, as I did the deal, I said, the Gumball Rally is happening in the UK this year. And if I can do anything within my power to cover this in stickers and blag my way onto, a little bit like other amazing YouTubers here. So Dustin, the amazing guy, did a video about how he blagged his BMW, I believe, to get onto the Gumball Rally. I had the idea of wanting to do that and trying to sort of replicate his footsteps because he is an absolute hero to all of us. But I wanted to do it in such a way that I didn't upset Mr. Maximilian, because Mr. Cooper is an idol. He's got an absolute beautifully stunning wife who, them as an iconic couple, have taken over the world, you know, one car show at a time. And I think he'd be a lot more friendly to have him on side than to sort of rub him up the wrong way. So my buddy Chiro Champi had started working with Gumball Rally, and I got the car back and I sort of planted the seed to be like, hey man, I'd love to take the car on the Gumball. So basically, I got in with the guys at Gumball at Petrolheadism Underground who saw my Murciélago. And Chiro said, there may be a small chance you'll be able to get your Countach on the Gumball Rally. So basically, I thought, what is the best way of doing this? How do I not step on toes? And how do I keep everyone happy while still achieving that goal of sneaking my Countach onto the Gumball Rally without paying that massive fee? And basically, the lovely guy, Mr. Matt Armstrong, I've been fortunate enough to buy the Ferrari 430 for him, which was an amazing story, which hopefully I'll be able to tell on this channel one day. But basically, his Murciélago, which was fully built, he had no way of getting it to Edinburgh Castle. He'd not done any road miles on it, and he didn't want to ruin it. So I basically said, Matt, if you don't mind covering my fuel and my accommodation, I will get your real Murciélago to Edinburgh Castle. So me and the master mechanic, Josh Wigley, jump in the truck, we drive to Leicester, we pick up the Murciélago, and we deliver it on time to the start line at Edinburgh Castle. And while we're at Edinburgh Castle, Chiro had been speaking to Matt and also speaking to Mr. Cooper or his team, and they'd authorised me to be a part of the Gumball Rally. What does that mean? He goes, well, you went out your way as a goodwill gesture to take the Murciélago all the way to Edinburgh Castle for a fellow YouTuber. I was like, yeah. Well, here is it. It was like the Olympic torch was handed to me. Matt Armstrong walked up to me with this coil of stickers, handed it to me, and at that moment, me and the master mechanic jumped in the truck, drove 12 hours to Portsmouth, and this is like 10 o'clock at night. I can stay and party with some of the best people at the start of the Gumball Rally, and this is like a holy grail thing for me, or I can have the opportunity of rolling my car across the line at the start line for the first stop in London at Battersea Power Station. Parties will happen every day. I'll get drunk, I'll make myself look like an idiot, I'll probably snort tequila out of someone's belly button, and it will never be invited ever again. Or I can jump in the truck and drive to Portsmouth. So me and the master mechanic, we jumped in the truck, we drove like through the night. I say we drove, I fell asleep across the seats like this, right? Like that, and slept across Mr. Wiggly for 12 hours, and I woke up at the farm at 7 in the morning. We arrived, and then the time was set. It was all go, it was go time, right? And we had, basically, the cars were going to be arriving at Battersea Power Station at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So basically I had from 7 in the morning till 4 o'clock to get the clutch fitted, the rear body, the panels, everything, the gearbox back in. Also, you've got to imagine, they said, we will allow you to do this, but you need to get a proper sticker shop to sticker it, because we don't want our stickers misplaced. We don't want them, you know, we don't want to sort of muddy the name of Gumball. So I phoned my sticker lady, who's Donna at Abshot Signs, who's amazing. So Donna, I have the decals. Can I bring the car to you? She's like, sure. We put the gearbox in, we put the clutch in, we did an oil change, we put it all back together, and we did one lap of the field, right? Which I've still got the video of today. And we did one lap of the field. We loaded it on the truck, and this is like maybe 11:15, 12 o'clock. We drove to Donna's house, which I call her Donna-mise, a little bit like Yanna-mise. We put the car in her garage, and we basically stickered the whole car, the first ever fake supercar in the world, with Gumball stickers, right? And they were done amazingly. We put the stickers on, it looked absolutely flawless. We loaded the car back on the recovery truck, and we drove to London. Got to Battersea Power Station about 4:45. And I jumped in the car, my heart is pounding out my chest. I got Raj from Supercar Service. He has been like my support car. He's got the orange flashes on the roof. He's like my support car. So I had no idea that the rest of the Gumball guys were 4 hours behind me. So I drove up, and there's thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of people packing the streets. And I've got my Bugatti Andrew Tate scooter, which has got Gumball stickers on it, ratchet strapped to the back of the Lamborghini Countach, like I was the man, right? If there was something that was real here, it was my Bugatti scooter strapped to the back. And we rolled up, and the pictures and the photography were going nuts. And the gentleman at Gumball was like, mate, no one's here. Can you disappear for a few hours? So I disappeared, we went and parked it up, car overheated, we did a load of laps around London showing off with the Gumball stickers, and we parked up. It got to 8 o'clock, and I thought, do you know what? Stuff it. We're going to go for it. So these people had been waiting from 9 o'clock in the morning for the cars to arrive. There was a big accident on the motorway, and basically a lot of the cars got stuck in that accident, so a lot of the cars arrived later in the day. And Gumball, to this day, I'm going to say this. There was hundreds of thousands of people on the street, which were making it very dangerous for, you know, car drivers coming in. But Gumball went above and beyond. There were stewards everywhere, making sure everyone was safe. When I got to Battersea Power Station, I was the first car across the line at point 1 checkpoint, which was Battersea Power Station. And hundreds of thousands of people assumed I'd driven from Edinburgh Castle. I haven't done those miles. I've done so many more. I went from Edinburgh Castle to Portsmouth, back to London. I'd done like twice as many miles as anyone had actually driven, but they knew that I'd actually probably done 5 miles driving as opposed to 500, shall we say. The guys at Gumball were like, do you know what? He's here. These people have been waiting for hours. It's not their fault. They did everything. They were amazing. They waved me in. And my heart pounded out of my chest. I was the first car to drive over that line, and there was kids screaming. There was people like, oh my God, going absolutely amazing. The DJ had the music going on. He's like, how's it going, Sam? I was like, it's amazing. How does it feel to be the first car across the line at Gumball 3000 Europe Tour? And I was like, mate, it feels absolutely exhilarating. And I had security guards. We have like 2 security guards in front, 2 security guards at the back, and they made sure that everyone was safe. There was thousands of people, and we did a whole lap of Battersea Power Station. This piece of shit Countach didn't overheat. It didn't break down. It didn't leak fluids. It didn't let me down in any way, shape or form. I mean, it would have been very cool to push the car around the lap of Battersea Power Station. It would have probably made headline news, but I was the first car across the line. We went all the way around, did 2 laps and went out. And it was the most amazing thing to feel that the guys at Gumball, they still have the love for the passion of what Gumball Rally is. It's not about the biggest pockets. It's not about who's got the best car. It's about the love and the promise and commitment you have to your fellow car guys, you know. I promised Matt I'd get that car to Edinburgh Castle. I delivered on my promise. The guy said they might be able to help me out with some stickers. There's like a 1% chance. Delivered my promise. They delivered theirs. Matt handed me the stickers. I then delivered the promise that I'd actually build the car and take it there. I took it there. I went over the line. I made hundreds of thousands of people happy. And I delivered a promise, and for me, it's one of the highlights of my life. When I die and I'm gone, I'll always be that idiot that took that fake supercar to Gumball and took it over the line before every single one else that had such a bigger bank account than me. And you know what? There was a lot of people that were very angry that they didn't get across the line first. So not only have I earned that, the phrase of a gumballer. I'm now an official gumballer, maybe like an Asda Zone or a JC Penney, as Mr. Rob Pitts would say, version of a gumballer. But now I'm in a very, very unique position. Not only do I now have this car that has got the iconic reference of it being a Gumball car, it has the most iconic livery of that year of being a fake supercar with the Gumball livery. I'm now in a unique position that this £3,000 car could be worth substantially more because it has that reference to it and that very rare, quality that it's a Gumball car. So I take it back, and my friend Alex at Total Head Turners phones me, and he is very, very world famous for having lots and lots of fake supercars, Cobras, F40s, GT40s, F1 McLaren replicas. He said, Sam, how do you fancy bringing the car to the Goodwood Festival of Speed? And I mean, good God, not only have I taken this car on the Gumball Rally, it's now displayed at the Festival of Speed. It's got to be the cheapest piece of crap to ever be displayed at two of the most iconic shows in the world. And we put it up for sale for 75 grand, and it's like a stupid telephone number, but you're at Goodwood, you don't know who's walking around. And Ben Collins of Stig and Tavares come and check it out. And they're like, do you know what, Sam? This car looks fantastic. But it is still that piece of junk. You open up the back and you have to put a wood in to hold the engine tray up to reveal that horrible V8. This gentleman turned up to the guys at Total Head Turners and were like, hey, we're interested in the car. What would you do? And Sam's like, look, he's not negotiable on the price. Like, it's a Gumball car. It's the first ever replica to ever go on the Gumball Rally. It's been advertised now here at Festival of Speed. It's an iconic car, and it's also a famous YouTuber. Went back and forth, and then the show went, and I thought we'd lost the opportunity. Really, it's probably a 40, 50,000 pound car if I'm very lucky, but on the same hand, in America, these cars can make 100 grand. So there is that monetary value to it. And we went back and forth with a gentleman, and he offered me £63,000. We came to the number. Cool, but you're taking my pride and joy. I didn't really want to sell it. It's always going to be the Sam Hard car. And he said, I'll make it worth your while. So I waited about 2-3 months, finally got all the money in. We delivered it to his house, but before he viewed the car, he came down and looked at it, and he went, I said, do you want to drive it? He went, oh no, I'm going to park it in the corner. I said, do you want to sit in it? Oh no, don't want to sit in it. It just piece of art, it'll go next to my Ferrari or whatever. I don't want to drive it. I said, you sure? Here's the keys. I said, I'm telling you right now, it's a project car. It drives absolutely horrendous. These kit cars, when you drive down the road, they track. Basically, the steering rack is up here and the wheels go like this. So if one wheel goes up, the steering will pull either way, like it's just the way they're built. And he goes, I don't want to drive it. I don't want to sit in it. I just want to have the car. I finally get paid, deliver it to his house. I said, do you want to sit in it and drive it? He went, nope, I'm not bothered by that whatsoever, because I do have you a present. I'm like, okay. Guy's already given me a pretty substantial present of £63,000. He walks out with this whacking great box wrapped up like a birthday present, right? I'm like, this is really weird. This is either going to be one of those shows where he's like, like you've been fooled or whatever, I open the box and it's a Lamborghini Cyan Lego box that's worth like $500. And he goes, I've taken your Lamborghini pride and joy. Here's one that you can build with your kids. And my heart was like pounding out my chest. I was nearly in tears. And I didn't really know what to do. It was that iconic feeling of buying this piece of junk because I loved it. Everyone else believed in the fact that I would deliver in my promises. And now I've been paid substantially well for everything that I promised was delivered. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you must understand from being at home. If you love something enough and your passion's in it, even if you lose money, you've never lost anything. Basically, people can't pay for the experience you're going to have in that car. So yeah, don't ever pass up on that piece of junk on Facebook Marketplace. It may be one of the most profitable things you ever do.
When you're buying a pre-owned car, it is critical to get a professional mechanic to inspect it every time. And so the Lemon Squad is the easiest way to do that and the most affordable. Generally within 24 or 48 hours, they can get somebody on site anywhere in the country with their nationwide network of trained professional mechanics that are going to give you a ton of pictures and a full report of exactly what's going on with this car. It's a great way to avoid scams, and it's a great way to get a very clear picture of the car that you're buying, and this ammunition can make you the shrewdest negotiator of all. It also makes the drive home a whole lot easier and keeps a little bit more money in your pocket, and I know that you'll love the results from the Lemon Squad. So check them out now at the link in the description below for a special discount and to make sure that you're buying the car that you think you are.